Welcome back to our FMC Podcast, Life Unfiltered, where throughout the month of December, we are exploring what it means to be all wrapped up. I'm Gina Hendrickson, and together, let's unwrap the wonder and mystery of waiting in the midst of the holiday season. Waiting is not a very popular attitude. Waiting is not something that people think about with great sympathy. In fact, most people consider waiting, a waste of time. Perhaps this is because the culture in which we live is basically saying, hey, get going, do something, show you are able to make a difference somehow, some way. Don't just sit and wait. Right? It's all about that hustle and bustle I talked about in last week's podcast. For many people, waiting is an awful desert between where they are and where they want to go, meaning it's an uncomfortable, barren, and even hostile living condition. That's how awful waiting can be. And people do not like such a place, so they want to get out of it by doing something, anything. I also believe that most of us think of waiting as something that's very passive, a hopeless state determined by events that are completely, totally out of our control. The bus is late? Well, you can't do anything about it, so you just have to sit there and wait. I totally get that that's frustrating. It is not difficult to understand the irritation that people feel when somebody says, just wait, just wait. Words like that seem to push us into passivity. But I think we need to flip that and look at waiting in a different way. So instead of passive waiting, we should embody active waiting. Active waiting means to be present fully to the moment, right? To what's happening now. It's trusting that something is happening where you are and that you want to be present to it and for it. There's hope and excitement in active waiting. A waiting person is someone who is present to the moment, who believes that this moment is the moment, right? There is such a difference, right, in attitude between passive and active waiting. Now, also a waiting person, I believe, is a patient person. The word patience means the willingness to stay where we are and actually live the situation out to its fullest, in the belief that something hidden there, something unknown, will make itself manifest to us. So there's this expectant hope in patient waiting. Now, impatient people are always expecting the real thing to happen somewhere else, and therefore they want to go elsewhere, right? They can't wait, they just can't, because the moment, the now, it's just empty. But patient people, they dare to stay where they are. Patient living means to live actively in the present and simply be, to simply wait where we are for the moment to reveal itself. So waiting then, you see, is not passive. It involves nurturing the moment, right? I love that. It involves nurturing the moment as a mother nurtures the child that is growing in her. Don't be afraid. Something is happening to you. Pay attention. But there's more, right? Waiting is open-ended. Open-ended waiting is hard for us because, we tend to wait for something very concrete, for something that we wish to have. much of our waiting is filled with wishes. I wish that I would have a job. I wish that the weather would be better. I wish that my pain would go away. I wish my loved one would just pick up the phone or text me. We are full of wishes. And our waiting, right? Our waiting far too easily gets entangled in those wishes. So, for this reason, a lot of our waiting is not open-ended. Instead, our waiting is a way of controlling the future. We want the future to go in a very specific direction, and if this does not happen, we are disappointed and can even slip into despair and anger and frustration. This is another reason why we have such a hard time waiting, I think. We want to do the things that will make the desired events take place the way we want them to. Because remember, we don't like hanging in that desert place between where we are and where we want to go. But if our waiting is active, patient, and open-ended, then we can find and unwrap the gift and wonder of hope. Hope in all the moments that are just waiting to be discovered. Hope is trusting that something will be fulfilled, that life is constantly filled with possibility and countless expectant moments of love and peace and joy. So my desire throughout this season of waiting in December is to discover blessings of expectant-filled hope. One of my favorite writers, Frederick Buechner, shared powerful images to capture this incredible gift of expectant waiting. So I'd like to share just a few of them with you. The house lights go off, and the footlights come on. Even the chattiest stop chattering as they wait in darkness for the curtain to rise. In the orchestra pit, the violin bows are poised. The conductor has raised the baton. Or waiting in the silence of a midwinter dusk, there is far off in the deeps of it somewhere a sound so faint that for all you can tell, it may be only the sound of the silence itself. You hold your breath to listen. You walk up the steps to the front door. The empty windows at either side of it tell you nothing, or almost nothing. For a second, you catch a whiff in the air of some fragrance that reminds you of a place you've never been and a time that you have no words for. You are aware of the beating of your heart. You raise your hand to knock. Oh, this is the gift of active, patient waiting. The extraordinary thing that is about to happen is matched only by the extraordinary moment just before it happens. The Salvation Army Santa Claus clangs his bell. The sidewalks are so crowded you can hardly move. Exhaust fumes are swirling around in the air, and everybody is as bundled up against any sense of what all the fuss is really about as they are bundled up against the wind chill factor. But if you concentrate just for an instant, far off in the deeps of you, somewhere you can feel the beating of your heart. for all its madness and lostness, not to mention your own, you can hear the world itself holding its breath. Oh, may our waiting, may it be filled with moments of wonder, hope, and joy this week.